Go on, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what to do, what it is.
What it is, big man. Are you alive and kicking?
Yeah. I'm alive. Barely. You guys gave me a little goodbye present from Cape Town, so I've been trying to recover for a few days now.
Umtanga to you guys, because all of us here are fine.
Nah, fam. Nah, that's not true.
That's
not true. You maybe, because
all of us are good.
You're patient zero.
I'm healthy.
So cases.
Me and my household, we are good.
Nankali what? Now Vincent yakala. Now ulad yakala. Skala basibaningi lapho. Skala sibaningi. Komidli chappies.
But you want to go Vasco da Gama uhambe dropping your virus.
This nigga said Vasco
everywhere. And the most susceptible caught the thing.
Nah, fam. I think it was just a combination of everything. The weather, traveling, planes are cold as fuck. Jet Airlines, all of that. I think culminated in me being a bit under the weather. But yeah, we're getting close to 100%. But yeah, last week I was peak. So there was nothing the boy could do. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah, what a difference.
Doctor said, I know.
But hey, it's good to have you back.
Don't speak, save your voice. I did, okay, it's alright. That's my money maker. I didn't know, whatever you say, doc, I'll do it. So I've been drinking tea and lemon and all that shit like no man's business.
Like a bad bitch.
No, like a good,
like
a good sabat.
Between the two.
Not rapos.
Aye. Of course, serious.
Yeah, no, standard things. But anyway, guys, welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo.
My name is Senna.
We're back again. We're back again to do the damn things. A whole lot has happened, but I've been so busy, haven't really been able to keep track of a lot of what was happening on the socials, in life, in general. I don't know if you also feel the same, Mr. Moyo, or you've been on top of everything, Ved.
No, I haven't, Shem. And it's one of those things where a lot is happening in a week. You can only grasp and catch on to some things, and then before you know it, the week is gone. Ngapa plantation is plantationing, so
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think that's even the episode name, plantation, because that's life is coming. Life is coming thick and fast, man. And it gets harder and harder to get these out, but we're there for the people. Them give them the little bit of Friday goodness. I think we've got a couple interesting things to get into for this week. That I think I'm ready to laugh. At one or two things. Let me just take a look here, see what we have. See, I always forget, and then I'm like, shit, I have to check this thing again. So we'll start with a bit of quick football news, bro. It looks like we're gonna get Sterling, dog. What the fuck, man? Like, we don't need Sterling. That's such a random ass transfer, man. Like, Chelsea's really.
Why are you so disappointed?
It was Sterling for what? We have a surplus of attackers. We haven't sold anyone. It's like, and we were missing at least 3 key defenders. Rudiger's out, Christensen's out, Asby's too old. So what's going on in the back? Gulobat. Is it just Chalobah? So I'm a bit frustrated as a Chelsea fan and as a Lakers fan as well. Nothing is happening in free agency for my teams that I'm happy about.
Yeah, but I mean, look, there's still another month until the season begins. Negotiations take time, and transfer windows generally only spark up proper towards the end. And
we should just get
the earlier
Ronaldo.
Deals.
I want CR7 in the team, man. We need it. We need that. No, you guys don't need him because you're not a good team. CR7 needs a team that's ready to win, and a team that's ready to go to the next level. It's just missing either a leader or a striker. That's really That's what we're missing both. We're missing both up front. So we need someone who, if we put chances on a platter, he can take. And CR7 is that guy.
Didn't you buy Lukaku for that very same
Yeah,
reason?
for that exact same reason. But turned out Lukaku's not the guy. You know, but Cristiano is the greatest player of all time. So I'd be more than happy knowing that that's the man leading my line of attack. So if they can make it happen, the new American owners have been very disappointing so far. I'm reading all these stories which they've promised Tuchel 6 signings, and there's just, yeah, I don't know, maybe they're still dealing with a lot of admin
Here's the
within
thing,
club,
right?
but disappointing stuff.
People think that, I think football fans in general, and I think non-football fans would appreciate this, but I think football fans in particular, I think there's a very warped sense of reality that we have and expectations which are just not realistic. And unfortunately,
Why do you
I
say
think
that?
collectively, because we expect transfers to just happen.
Very.
Blink of an eye.
When
when
Daddy
someone
Roman was in
comes
charge
to
in
you
front of
and
me,
says-
he didn't play. He saw Michael Ballack. He's like, I want that guy. The guy came. You know? He saw Deco. I want that guy.
Yeah, but
Deco
he
came.
also made,
like, come on.
Sure. But he was throwing the money around.
Yeah.
And he could afford for those guys to fail because he just threw more money at it, right? So you look at all the signings that Chelsea made who were maybe decent, money that was, look, Morata.
I mean, yeah, Shevchenko
Simon.
was a bum. You know, he wasn't AC
There's a-
Milan Shevchenko.
Shevchenko, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, right?
Torres.
And ultimately, we're talking about people uprooting their entire lives to move to either another country where they probably don't speak the language, where, I don't know, they maybe are unsure of the surroundings, they don't know anyone, they have to make new friends.
Yeah, that's a lot of excuses. We're talking about
Different things.
professionals.
We are talking about professionals, right? And then we're also talking about agreeing to a transfer fee with another team and then agreeing personal terms with a player in terms of salary and all those things. I just think we have incredibly, unreasonably high expectations about how quickly transfers need to be done. Like, I see United fans like going on a meltdown. We haven't signed anyone. It's tricky. Bunzima. Like, yeah, dog.
Yeah, because business is
It
getting
takes
done.
time.
No. Some business is getting done. Like, look at
It takes time,
Look at
bro.
how quickly Lukaku was out the club, fam. You know, it's barely been, you know, what, 2 months since the season ended, or a month and a half since the season ended, or club football at least, and the man is already back at Inter. People are being announced. Look who's this
Yeah,
blonde boy at City, Haaland. Announce quickly. The business can
Haaland.
be done if you have proper
But-
footballing structure. You can identify your targets, immediately go in negotiations. Here's the money. Aziz. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
No, but that's not how it works, though. No, it is that hard.
No, it's
It
not.
is that hard.
No, it's not.
Virgil van Dijk joined Liverpool after, I think, 6 months of negotiations. He literally.
Yeah, but that's if your team is trying to be cheap, then yes, there's a difference. Like, I'll give you an example, quick example. The reason Robert
not really.
Lewandowski hasn't
With-
moved to Barcelona is because Bayern Munich is like, you guys don't have the money, and you know we don't. There's a lot of like back and forth between the two clubs where it's going to take a while. Whereas if it was the Barcelona of old, the Barcelona of 2010, for example, that the money was still good and the club hadn't gone to financial ruin, or at least on the borders of financial ruin, that deal would have been done instantly. People would have been reporting it from even
I don't
before the
believe that.
season
It would have
ends.
might have still taken a while.
Nah.
It might have still taken a while. Like, these things take time.
Give
man.
me a
Like,
deal that took a
you
while
even look
when
at
the club had the money and they wanted
Cristiano
to pay.
Ronaldo to Real Madrid.
Yeah, because
Ronaldo to Real Madrid.
but United didn't want to let him go, and two wanted top dollar. Like, it was a record-breaking transfer when he left, though.
And exactly, and that's what I'm saying. That's what can make things take time. Uguti, there's another team that also wants money. There's a player who also needs his salaries paid to a certain extent, and it'll always take time. And there's a lot of failed transfers, which go through months of negotiations, and then people are like, no, actually, that's not going to happen. You know, Banyeng.
True. I mean, I'm not angry, but at the same time, I can show you as many transfers up to date, how many players have been signed already, and players are being announced by their clubs already at this point. Like some deals are just there for the taking. Like it's very simple business. The club wants to sell, and the other club wants to buy. The player wants to move. Right? Let's get the lawyers in, get the lawyers out. Thank you for coming. So a transfer like Ronaldo to Chelsea, sure, that will take time, but at least some defenders, guys. Give me some guys where I know what like the drink water purchase where okay, this guy is chowing bench, but you know what? We need depth in the squad. But I'm not seeing any of that. Not even that.
But that's wasting money, right?
It's not wasting money. You need depth.
That's wasting. That's how you end up having. So for example, like the Roman era, my chat with the Roman era is it was easy because you could just throw money at either A, average players, or A, decent players, but then if you just up the asking fee or whatever it is, they'd just pay it, right? Chelsea would pay it and the other team would sell and it would be easy. That's what quickened the process, right? But in an instance where a club now has to watch the balance sheet, now has to watch the profits, now have to watch how they spend the money, then now negotiations will take time, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's beyond just, you can't just walk into Barcelona today and say when Frankie de Jong says hamp.
Really, you can.
It's going to be negotiation.
Put the money on the table.
Because
finger energy, fam. That's
money has to come from somewhere.
It's really that simple. If you have the money, put your dick on the table and be like, yo, I'm leaving here with something. And it's really not that deep, guys. These things are not that hard.
Shem, it's going to be a very sobering experience the next few transfer windows for you Chelsea fans.
Jack.
I think the Roman years have spoiled you guys, literally, because it's no longer just a matter of how much do you want for Torres. 50 million. That's 50 million. Torres is right? Now it's like, hey, okay, you guys want 50, but we can do 35. You're gonna have to do like what other teams do and start negotiating and taking time and scouting for good deals.
That's not my club, fam. We take what we want. We don't look at prices. I just go, bartender, give me this one that I can't pronounce. Yeah, that one. Bring it. Bring it to the table. But anyway, this is Abona. We'll see how things go when it comes to the deals in the next couple of weeks. I'm really hoping, but yeah, no, Sterling is really not good enough, in my humble opinion. All right, let's start with the Father's Day ban. What obviously that's kind of self-explanatory, but yeah, could you garnish us with a bit more context, Mr. Moy?
So every year around June, Father's Day comes around, and then it's always a very strange day, right? It's a day which, unlike Mother's Day, everyone is just like happy Mother's Day, and then it kind of goes on, and then we're done. Father's Day is always, I always put it as Think Peace Day, because there's always some sort of dialogue and unpacking that needs to happen on social media surrounding Father's Day and the day itself and fatherhood in general, right? So that'll be the day when people start saying, no, my father left, whatever, he wasn't really present, or and so forth and stuff like that, right? So it's a very weird celebration, because for a lot of people it's triggering. For a lot of people it's a moment where they can express dissatisfactions with certain things, blah blah blah, right? So there's some schools that were saying, no, look, we must do something to celebrate Father's Day in the same way that they would like Mother's Day and other holidays, right?
Yeah.
We're celebrating Father's Day and then there was someone on Twitter, I don't know who it is, who said schools must just ban having reference to any Father's Day things, because it's awkward for children who otherwise would not have fathers or present fathers, right? Because that does happen, right? It does happen where maybe unfortunately a father passed away, but I think this person was referencing specifically
deadbeats,
fathers who are absent or deadbeats. And that got me thinking, right? So one of the other responses was, well, if we're doing away with Father's Day, let's do it with Mother's Day, because maybe there's some people who um, don't have mothers present. And then someone else doubled down and says, no, Mother's Day can stay because it's seldom controversial because most mothers are present, and those that aren't are ones who maybe unfortunately passed away or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So and I was like, okay, so banning Father's Day from being celebrated by society and school in general. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Maps? Before I give my little 2 cents, but do you think that'll be a good move in making other kids feel like inclusive, not feel like they're missing out?
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Let's get rid of Father's Day. Nah, get the fuck out of here, man. Nah, let's guys, let's be serious. Let's be real. Let's be real with each other right now, guys. I think every couple of episodes, there's things that we talk about where it's just like I have to sit back and think, like, really, as a society, is this the direction that we want to go? Is this, like, is someone going to look back? Let's go with this topic. We abolish Father's Day. Are we going to look back and be like, yeah, sezintenhle la, are we going to be proud of that shit? It's like, some of these things to me, while I can understand how someone who had an absent father might feel, right? I can empathize, or rather sympathize, and say, okay, cool, yeah, it kind of would suck. But point number one, it's one day. It's not Father's Year. It's not Father's Week. It's one day, right? Of which at school, it's a couple of hours. At most, 7 to 8 hours? At most, right? And again, legitimately at school, in terms of in-your-face Father's Day shit, we're talking about maybe 1 to 2 hours spread across the day, right? So it's not like it's not overtly, oh my god, like all this other shit. It's like, because again, the other big thing I think is, while rather than focus on the negative, there's so many fathers who are not doing or are not raising their kids and taking that responsibility. There are so many who are the best dads in the world and are literally, jumping over mountains and swimming through oceans for their kids, right? And that's who is celebrated. And I think having a day, we have a Children's Day, we have a Father's Day, we have a Mother's Day, because those are all important. And think about this as well. This is a new element now. What about kids who are raised by same-sex parents? What about them? So it's like, okay, now if you have two, gay dads, fuck you then. It's like, bro, what about them? Because that kid's gonna want to celebrate their parents, his dads or her dads, because it's just where we are as a society. So I think, honestly speaking, I can understand people who will be muyu in that day. Kind of reminds you of, oh man, I wish I had a dad, but it's not, and I don't think it's a good enough reason to take it away from everybody else who does want to celebrate their father for one day. And there's actually there's a joke. I'll finish it with this. There's a joke that not a joke, I guess. There's a video that 50 Cent put out saying, "Guti, Father's Day is a scam." I think I shared it on Instagram. He was like, on Father's Day, you don't get shit. On Father's Day, you'll get tools. You'll get all this shit that allows you to go to work, or build some shit in the yard. Whereas, on Mother's Day, mothers get flowers, things. They get spa days, they get gifts and all this other shit. He was like, I'm a father, I want diamonds, nigga. I want a chain, I want something. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if dads feel like that. So don't be buying me a new lawnmower, bruh. Literally, do something nice for me. Which because we really don't
do something nice. Make a nice
gesture. If you compare Father's Day and Mother's Day, apart from making your dad breakfast and an ugly drawing, what else does dad really get compared to Mother's Day? But anyway, that's a completely different tangent. What are your thoughts on this, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, So my thoughts initially were the same as yours. Probably word for word exactly. And then
Who
I
got
had a
you?
moment where I'm like, okay, maybe I'm speaking from a position of privilege, right? Because sometimes these days you must
Privilege
check
or
yourself.
logic?
Privilege, because I have a present father. So it's easy for me to then be like, so why would people have an issue with celebrating Father's Day? Because, you know. And then I just said to myself, it might be awkward for some kids, because growing up, right? Maybe this is just, maybe I'm the only one who felt that way. I didn't think at any point in time ukuthi there were guys in my class who were potentially being raised by single mothers, right? I always maybe very ignorantly assumed ukuthi the status quo is a two-person household, right? There's
Yeah.
a mother, there's a father.
Yeah.
There's a Mother's Day, there's a Father's Day. I just always assumed ukuthi that's the case. I don't ever remember in my brain it registering when I was in primary school ukuthi actually, hi man, maybe there's some households where if both parents are still alive, there's a single parent where the father may have walked out or anything.
Yeah.
Now, thinking back now, I'm like, maybe for those kids, stuff like Father's Day would be a bit awkward, right? It would be a bit weird. And then when we'd have sports day at school, and they'd be like, fathers come race or whatever, maybe some kids would feel like, oh, I wish, if only, type of thing, right? So there's that part of me that's like, okay, maybe check your privilege here. Maybe for some people it's a sore point, and at that time you're young, right? It might feel like an awkward situation. You might end up going home resenting your mother, saying, how come other kids got to have their fathers come through today and be celebrated, where's mine? Kan thola ukuthi, man's is halfway across the world living his best life, type of thing. Of which,
No, but
my
Nkelu,
resolution.
can I just point out one thing that you can also answer as well, right? I think, would you agree with me in saying that really in life in general, you're never going to please everyone, right?
That is true.
Not everyone, someone somewhere is going to be pissed about something. And if we put in policies like this, that we're talking about a small minority, at least in my mind, if we do the maths, it is a minority. And in this particular case, it's not something that is detrimental, at least in my opinion. I don't see it as detrimental to the minority. You're not taking away from a child's experience at school. You're not shortchanging a child, right, in school if you didn't have an active dad. So what's the significance of removing all of this, where it's like, okay, where do we stop? Where are we going to stop? Because if we talk about privilege,
I would. No, I was about to say, Guti, I would then say, ultimately, you're also not adding anything to the school experience for everyone by having, and I'll say Father's Day, but I'll also extend it, unfortunately, to Mother's Day, by having both Father's Day and Mother's Day celebrated in the way that they are in an organizational space, which is meant to be for, I'll say, public consumption, if that makes sense, right? So it's not like it's not private. It's not like it's in your household, right? It's now open to children of many different backgrounds and ethnicities and all these things, right? The moment we then start saying, right, let's celebrate a Mother's Day, you are by the very same token saying, okay, anyone who doesn't have a present mother at this moment in time, askis, you'll just have to deal whilst we just get on with it. And on Father's Day, you're basically saying the same thing. Anyone who doesn't have a father, on this particular day, you'll just have to deal while we do our own thing. The solution that I was going to suggest is maybe let's just do away with celebrating these things at an organizational level in general, right?
I mean, I would sooner say, you know what? I see the significance in it, because schools also did, like at Western, we had fundraisers. Remember, you could buy like these Father's Day packages where you'd get like biltong and like a Blue Bulls keychain, all this other random dad shit, you know? And like that stuff was cool. You know, that stuff was cool. And I think, you know, worst case scenario, personally, I feel like if I'm a headmaster at a school, I'd send out an email and be like, hey, if you feel, if you're that vexed by us celebrating Father's Day as an institution or Mother's Day as an institution, then it's an excused absence for your child. You don't have to take your child to school that day. Who's that when you plan academic? Because really, if you feel like that as if it's Father's Day and you're the mother, you really feel what you know, no, this is really gonna debilitate my child mentally, then fine. Of which, if you went with the excused absence, your friends are gonna realize, like, Senna, why weren't you at school yesterday? And then it's like, oh, you know, it was Father's Day, and you know, it's like it's just all this unnecessary shit. But anyway, I just think whatever. I think just better solution. If you don't want, if you're not a fan, just have your kids sit at home for the day, and then y'all just pretend it's just a regular day, and cool, you know, leave it like that. Because I do think the positive that comes out of people being able to celebrate Father's Day and Mother's Day is greater than the harm on the other end. That's how I feel. Again, you could say, yeah, that's a privileged take and whatever, because, you know, we like I said, it's just a slippery slope. Because now, if we were still at CBC, yeah, what would stop us if we implementing and we're talking about implementing such policies? What stops us now at CBC in terms of telling our parents, you know, we feel like, you know, water polo should be stopped at CBC, ngoba really it's just for Amakio and Tina, as Abantu Bamnyama were just reminded about colonialism and how, you know, we have had a lack of access as black people. So rather, let's do away with water polo.
How you're basically flaunting your ability to swim in my face.
Your ability to swim, your white privilege, from as a kid, you've been able to swim, and you can play this game where it's predicated on you being able to tread water, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the school couldn't swim. Personally at CBC, there's a lot of niggas who couldn't swim, right? Versus the niggas that could. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we could actually make a logical case as to why we should get rid of water polo, right? And pull the racism card and all that other shit. But it's like, bruh, that's my fear. Uti, like, where does it end? Like, what's the goal of all of this, right? What are we trying to do? What's the positive outcome, right? Versus the negative outcome. I'm just looking at big picture, Senzan, and why are we doing it? You know, so
well, in terms of what we're doing, we're sparing other children's feelings, right? We're being empathetic. I guess that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is that no one feels like they're not part of, or like that they can't partake, and no one feels like they're being, I don't know how to put it, but no one feels like we're showing off in their faces, right? We are.
What I would say to the listeners is, guys, please inbox us and at us. If you had an absent parent, did you feel a type of way when it was Mother's Day or Father's Day at school, primarily primary school or high school? Did you feel a type of way? Because I think the other thing as well is, I say, you know, fuck out of here. If it's the parent who's like, yeah, nah, I don't like the fact that they're celebrating Father, then it's like, bruh, look walk, right? That's a different thing. If it's the moms who single moms who are like, hey, really, we should not, and I'm like, no, fam. That's a different argument. That's a different conversation. But if it's genuinely, because what I want to understand is, was it kids, right? Was it my schoolmates who would feel a type of way whenever we had Father's Day and Mother's Day? You know, that's what I would love for people. I want to hear from people who are in those situations. Was that a thing? Or did you just not care? Right? Because I think people didn't care. That's how I felt, right? I honestly felt like, whatever. If you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, you're not. You moved on with life. We went to go play on the field. You know? That's what I think the reality is.
Yeah.
But I would love to know from anyone who was in that situation, was that a thing in your mind where it really stressed you to that point, or did you roll your eyes at the beginning of the day and just move on with life?
Okay. Okay. No, I'm also curious. Like, I don't think my solution, like I said, is maybe in, keep it as something that we celebrate in our homes and in our small communities. Um, Historically, I think Father's Day and Mother's Day are sort of religious thing. I think they date back from like the 1500s.
What's
So they
the
have like
school issue then?
religious. No, the school issue is just that you have many kids of different diversities and backgrounds, right?
So
A
what's the
lot of
difference
which
between
in
school
South
and,
Africa.
and social media, for example?
Between school and social media.
As in, it's being celebrated on social media. Senna's posting his picture with his dad. Tawo's posting his picture with his dad. Is Wanibani, everyone, dad,
Well,
dad's all over the place.
I think that's apples and oranges in the sense that uh, social media is more like walking down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Should I put it that way, right? So you're walking down the street. You're not necessarily subscribing to a particular space with a set of values, and then you have to subscribe to those particular values, right? There's like laws which you must obey on the streets and on social media. But I view social media, literally, I think I've made this example before, where I can't be walking with you down the streets along 5th Street in Bulawayo, having a conversation about something, and then a random person stops us and says, I don't like what you're talking about. It's misogynistic, it's this, it's that, it's that. Like,
Yeah.
yo, chief, we're just two-stepping on the street C2.
Yeah.
School is a bit of a more closed space and more organizational, in the sense that you subscribe to it, and maybe it's you as a community, and it has a certain responsibility of empathy and protection towards everyone who goes to it and subscribes to it.
But you know
More
why?
than
You know why I
social
say that?
media does.
So even if you, because I think at the end of the day, based on what you sort of summarize, that people's negative feelings towards celebrating Mother's Day or Father's Day, right? I think the argument is better served being against canceling the day completely as a day, right? Canceling that is I think is more of the argument those people should be having than trying to remove it from school, because that's just one element
Yeah.
of what a kid will experience the whole
Yeah.
day or whatever, because they will have access to socials, they will have access to TV, they will have access to all these other things. So are you trying to say to, oh yeah, just because, like you said, social media, Facebook is not an educator, right? It's not a CBC, it's not a White Stone, it's not a whatever, right? Facebook is Facebook, Instagram is Instagram. But Oksalayo is your kid is going to be on a platform that they're going to see story after story after story posting dads and moms and all this I love yous and greatest person in my life, my first love, all that other shit, right? Which I think personally is more psychologically damaging, because people really be putting sweet shit out there, and it's like I would feel bad if I didn't have a dad. I think I'd skip the day on social media, bro. Like that's how deep things get on social media. So I think you're better served arguing about the whole day completely with the whole thing, because school is just one element, and even if you successfully stop schools from doing it, it's like if you're worried about your kids' mental health and just like no, it's irrelevant, then there is more. There's more about the whole day type of thing, where you need to get rid of everything, not just one element, because you're not really doing much. I guess that's why I'm against it. It doesn't really help
Yeah.
the situation.
I think on behalf of those people, I would then say something along the lines of you to cancel the day in totality. I'm not necessarily sure. I think there's an appreciation that it's not possible. I think there's an appreciation ukuthi this might be difficult on a grander scale because it's like I said, this thing has been celebrated since the 1500s, right?
Yeah.
To change people's thinking on a bigger scale is very difficult, right? Because we're talking about, I don't know how many people are on it, like 7 billion. And I'm not sure how many billion of those, probably more than 50% of those celebrate Father's Day and Mother's Day. I suspect if it's not 50%, it's there or thereabout. Now, if to say let's cancel the day completely, I think there's an understanding and appreciation of which it's difficult given how deeply entrenched it is.
But you know, it's really not that hard.
You can.
It's really not that hard.
But then if you can
Senna,
control it on
when is Mother's Day?
Second Sunday of May.
Yeah. Like, how many times in your life have you actually had to Google? First of all, there's like 2 Mother's Days. There's the UK one. You see, the UK always fuck shit up. There's like the UK one where all of a sudden our British friends were like, "Oh, happy Mother's Day." And I'm like, wait, what? Then I have to Google.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I have to Google when the day is. Like, if y'all are serious, yeah, go to the owners of the internet or Google up and just be like, don't put the updates. Because now, if we don't know when the date is, we'll just never celebrate it. It's really that simple. It's not that hard to remove. Just remove the date. If I Google now with Mother's Day 2022, remove that where there is no day, and then you're done. Like obviously if society or the the powers that be agreed to that, but I just think, Senna, with all of this, where do we draw the line? You know, that's my issue. Like, bigger picture, where are we going to draw the line?
That'll always be a challenge. Like that'll always be a challenge, and that's why I think to cancel it in totality, that's hard.
Yeah, but just semi-cancel it in schools. I'll do it.
No, we're not saying cancel it, but let's not. But don't say cancel it, right? So what people are saying is let's just not acknowledge it at school. Right?
That is canceling.
In that environment where you have kids of different backgrounds in a micro sort of space, maybe let's just not throw it in their faces. Or today might be a difficult day. You know, Mother's Day might be hard for you. Father's Day might be hard for you. Let's just not put it out. And you know, the other thing is we can't control anything.
These days are on the weekends, though. That's another thing, right? Which you also I forgot to bring up.
Sunday.
They're always on Sundays, right? Sundays. And what happens in schools is would you draw something for your dad, make something for your mom. Here's a voucher that was not a package that was selling all week that you can buy for mom and dad, and then you give it to them on Sunday. So really, schools don't really do that much. All right, let's write it. The teachers come in. Okay, kids, especially kindergarten, right? When we were in high school, let's draw something nice for mommy. You know, what's wrong with that? I think that's wholesome, dog. Like that's some wholesome shit. That's some wholesome.
Now
shit.
Imagine they say, let's draw something nice for daddy, and then when you know that nigga stepped out with dad, now you're chilling there in class like so manje teacher, what must happen? So it's like
let the nigga doodle, bruh. Got what he planned.
It's like, teacher, I don't have teacher, my dad's not present. Hey, so I
can do something. Got do Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. Like, I think, and this is one concept which always used to fascinate me. I'm not sure if they have it in American schools. You probably know better than I do. A concept of a career day at school.
Yes, they do.
Fuck, dude, that would be so stressful.
Why?
That's basically, dog, career day with teenagers or primary school kids. Nah, dog, that's pressure. Like, I remember, I think it was an episode of Dexter's Lab where I think Dexter was ashamed to tell his dad about career day because he's like, people at school are going to laugh at me, they're not going to take you seriously. So he even went and got some funky professor to come act like Einstein on the career day thing. I remember this episode so vividly because I'm like, career day is Zimbabwe, right? This is where
Oh, I used to flex.
You know
We
how
had
the
it in
situation
gym.
is.
I can't remember which school it was, but I remember there was a day we had to come in and we talk about what our parents do, and I flexed heavy.
Bro, what can I ask you now? What was the reason for that? Because I can bet you it is so awkward in a country with so many wage disparities, so many
But
career
then
professional
Zim was
disparities.
still Zim was on the way down. We hadn't hit rock
Even
bottom yet
even if it's
when we were
Shem,
young.
even if it's fine. Cabanga, okay, and respectfully to all careers, right? Let's say someone's dad is an engineer, someone's dad is a hustler, right? He just makes things happen. Like he's just in my look but the school fees he sebenzas he khwabanisas it
One way or
puts
the
it
other.
together.
My kid goes to school.
So the career day, bro. Let me tell you now, and children are evil, bruh. Children will make fun of your parents' profession. I've seen this happen, dog. I saw it happen in high school. I saw it happen not in primary school, not so much. I don't think we ever had that at Whitestone. When I was there, at least
What happened? When was this in high school? I don't remember career day in high school.
No, not a career day.
Yeah.
But niggas making fun of a parent's occupation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bro.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you're just there like, yo, niggas, like, but then these are people who are in the same school, right? So it just means that both parents have come together. They've all paid the fees. They're all learning.
Yeah.
They've discharged their responsibilities in terms of the financial need of the schools. Now, cabanga Tabo suhle lapha. Maybe someone else's Bali is a Socha or something, right? And then someone else's Bali is I don't know, top exec CEO of some multinational company, right? So we're away to career day, Escolo, or you as your as your peers, we're saying come about, my dad does this, my dad does that. There's an obvious class difference which you're highlighting here. Like just putting it out there for everyone to know about.
Yeah.
How is that not awkward?
I mean, I wish it was nowadays, because now some of us would be like, my mom is an OnlyFans. She's an OnlyFans stage. But hey, like, that, in all seriousness, yeah, I think that one, I would sooner fight the career day over Mother's Day and Father's Day, because that one, yes, absolutely, I'm sure there's people who have psychological damage to this day because of the fact that, like, at that point, I've never been in a situation where someone got made fun of that they don't have a mom or a dad, right? Or the mom or dad is not active. I've never ever, I don't remember anyone, having jokes put on them like that, right? But if your dad or your mom is doing some fuck shit, and type of thing, you're like that, yeah, niggas got roasted. There were niggas who got roasted, and it took a psychological toll, because imagine, bruh, the worst is it would happen when someone is being made fun of and bam choga or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the line about your dad just being a hustler or whatever. And remember in 08 when things were hard, bruh, and people are making fun of another Ngi who his dad used potatoes to pay school fees, you probably paid school fees like bruh, it's shit where me I'd be munyu, bruh. If some company came to me like, bruh, we saw your pally coming in the Hilux or in his pickup, and we saw drop 50 kgs quickly. Like, yo, and you know how rude niggas can be. Like, almost you'll be dying laughing, bruh. And now you're like, fuck. Like, and then obviously the news will spill out to Girls College and Vent and Townsend and all these other schools and shit. And then it's like, bruh, mtala kupatele school fees ngama kweli, bruh. Like, niggas won't let it go. You know what I mean? Like, so really, I know that
that's
whole
what I'm saying.
Crazy.
If we're all and look, if we're all at a school, I say let's do away with anything that can highlight class differences.
No, but you know what?
Yay.
Honestly speaking, in terms of what does your dad do, I think everybody, especially at a primary school level, it's easy to get away with that because you can go and say, my dad is an accountant, right? Whether or not he's an accountant or who makes a lot of money or very little money, nobody knows that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, oh, my dad is an accountant or my dad works for a city council. Back then, the city council was very reputable. You know, we don't know your dad is the one who makes coffees and fetches the mail at city council, but you come in and like, oh, my dad is a city council. Oh, okay, cool. You know,
I don't know how
those type of
teachers
things,
allowed
like,
those things to happen. No, like, I'm thinking about it now. Like, grown adults were sitting in a class asking, and grown adults will be sitting in the classroom. They say, "Yeah, so what does he do?" Ah, no, sebenza elokuzenin. Okay, but what does he do there? Now they must divulge like personal information about your household.
It's on you as a parent to equip. Now, personally, I'm woke to the shit, right? When my time comes, I will literally tell my kid and be like, and give him a complicated job description. If I'm not doing a job, I'll give him a fancy sounding job description that he can hold his chin high and say, yeah, my dad does da 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 da. Oh, okay, cool. You know, I won't set him up for failure. I think as a parent, you have to, you don't set your kid up for failure where they're gonna get roasted. Not in the name of it.
The moment my kid starts talking, I must drum this commercial lawyer term into his head till he starts like, wherever you go, chief, just let them know. Because I think about it now, right? Like now it feels super awkward that children had to divulge that information. Like it feels weird.
I mean, I personally, I don't know. I think it's tough when, you know, like even back then, you know what's funny is like I think as a kid, it was kind of embarrassing if your mom was like a stay-at-home mom, whereas now when you're grown up, you're like, oh, that was a flex, you know. But back then, it was about like your parents had to work. At least for me, in the environment that I was in,
if you're black,
the standard was your parents must work. Yeah, bro. And it's like, you know, even when I looked at the white kids, I'm like, bro, your mom doesn't work. You know, and it was me sort of like judging them. Why doesn't your mom work? Like, is she dwas? You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of what my mentality was. It's like, bro, is your queen dwas? Why doesn't she craft? Right? But now you grow up, you're like, oh, damn, your dad had money like that. Where he was like, nah, babe, chill. You know? Silently. So those are some of the dynamics at school where I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I do think as a parent, don't set your kid up for failure. Even if money is tight, I would still personally make an effort to, like, if money is tight, you can't then give the kid rice and soup, le pisi nyam at break time. If you're sending your kid to a bougie school. Like, I think, set your kid up for failure.
Can I just say?
I would rather set your kid up for success, bro. I wait.
So my next chat, on top of Mother's Day, Father's Day, my lunchbox. Because I'm going all out for everything here, dog. Schools.
Remember that little white scoop.
Lunchbox.
That little white scoop for juice is like probably the size of your palm. That one, which would always be leaking.
It should always be leaking.
And then you have to validate it with like a piece of plastic. Yo, that shit was ghetto, bro.
I don't know who used to manufacture those things. Whoever used to manufacture those things needs to come back. That was a defect. Like,
yeah, no, honestly.
It can't be with so many.
A nationwide defect, bro. Everyone's bag would leak.
Everyone's bag would always be leaked. Like, there was nothing worse than you got maybe unfortunately you had your books and your bag. Your books in your bag with the bottle like somewhere close by.
Yeah.
Next thing, your books are now covered. And if it was like raspberry or something, dog.
Books are now red, purple.
Nonsense.
But imagine strapping and then you're wet. Your back is now wet. You're like, how is my bag wet? And turns out.
But there's nothing worse than people actually telling you what your bag is leaking. That's when you're like, yes, I wonder what damage there is now. But bemfuna ukuthi schools enforce uniforms so that we all look the same, blah blah blah, right? Girls' schools even go further to enforce hair policies so that no one's out here looking like a bad while other kids are on a basic tip. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'll then. There were so many things which were definitely out of the school's control. So stuff like, how can I put it, like a lunchbox, like you mentioned. Some people's lunchboxes were not the same as others.
Yeah.
And I know I'm arguing against myself in a way here because I'm the one who said let's do away with Mother's Day, Father's Day, and all that stuff, and just make sure everyone is on an equal footing. But with stuff like food and sending your child to a school where there's evident class differences, right? So Ngambuya Minang Petit Nando's got a chicken with chips on the side, when we are bread peanut butter. As a school, do you think it would be reasonable then to be like, right, guys, lunchbox just to keep it simple?
You see, so what did I say at the beginning? What did I say at the beginning?
Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, we'll keep going. Because once we've cancelled Mother's Day and Father's Day, we keep going. We keep going in that direction. And it's like, okay, but we made an exception for Mother's Day and Father's Day. It's like, for you, Senna, that's where you drew the line. Like, yeah, sharp. But then someone else is going to come. Hanani is going to come like, no, bro, my light is complaining about my lunch tin. What? Can we have standard lunch tins? The school must provide lunch tins for all students across the board so that they all look the same. Or whatever it is. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, at some point, we just need to understand that, start with this. Life is not fair, because I think the problem stems from us as a society trying to hoodwink people, right, into thinking life must be fair. And the reality is life is not fair. The money that you're making right now, Senna, I'm pretty sure you don't feel like this money makes sense for what I bring to my firm and my skill set, right? There's someone who is less intelligent and less qualified than you making more money than you right now. That's just the reality of life. That's the way shit is across all different spectrums in life. And it happens in high school from when we're growing up, where you would see the inequality, right? Your parents sent you to a certain type of school, especially like for high school, where we saw everything. So people who people who live in town, and different types of income, like at every single level, right? That's where you really see with Mpilo is different. This bike is taking me from CBC to freaking item to town or to Burnside or to wherever, right? Like, that's how I get to school. Otherwise, my parents cannot afford to, drop me off at school, or I have to take ETs and all. So that's just what life is, And if we're gonna try and pretend, because I think honestly, canceling, these days and the whole lunch tin, what tin is trying to pretend that life is fair and that life is the same. And I think you're not really preparing young minds for what it is, because now Mudu will go in to adulthood thinking, oh yeah, but wait, what is this? Why is so and so getting paid more than me? It doesn't make any sense. Why is this happening? Of which maybe I'm a broken man and I've accepted the way the world is, and people are trying to make the world the way it should be. But I guys,
like
let's
I said,
move on.
I started off initially. My thoughts were exactly the same as yours, and then there's just a part of me that just said, maybe we can be a bit more empathetic with certain stuff, and then I started to just pursue that line of thinking. But I take everything you said, and I think it's a fair argument. Anyone who can put arguments in favor of maintaining these days, please do, guys.
That's very simple. If you can't afford to put to buy the little Ziplocs and put a Kit Kat in your kid's lunch tin, then you tell your kid, yeah, when you grow up and you start working, you better make money so you can afford your own damn Kit Kats and Ziplocs. Everyone needs a little bit of childhood trauma to be successful. It's a proven formula, guys. It's a proven formula. We all need a little bit of that. The most successful basketball player in the world, guess what? Man came from the ghetto. Man had nothing. Basketball, it was basketball or nothing. That's just everybody's success story. It's very few people that are, me, had it all, parents made a shitload of money, and I am the richest man in the world. Ghetto story, bro. Everybody needs a ghetto story. So, if your son is seeing stars in school, just tell him you're the next millionaire, dog. You're the next guy up. You're the next billionaire. You're going to invent something special. And you're going to have the back. I'm giving you the story for your book, for your New York Times bestseller. Sell it to your kid like that, man. Don't just vuma with your kid telling you, hey, mom, we don't have money. Sell it. Sell him the angle and what you're trying to do for him or her. And they'll make something of it. Anyway, okay. Guys, I'm being facetious, but not really. Actually,
he's not.
I'm being serious.
He's really not.
Oh my god. We spent an hour getting over Zena's childhood trauma. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Tell us about your lunch tin. Others, let us know. Did you have a nice lunch tin? Did your mom cut your sandwiches 4 corner? But I think honestly, there's some classics before we even leave this topic.
You're not leaving the topic. More trauma.
No, not even. You know what? I was about to even Lokuzen.
Yeah.
Say there's just certain things in the culture that we grew up in. Yeah. Where I think my life would have been different if my bag never leaked. Of course, that scoop first of all, that white scoop that we laughed about, I only had it for a month at most. That's FYI. Then my parents got me a proper scoop, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I learned my lesson in primary school.
So I remember you. Hey, but you know what? There was that yellow, not Mazoe. Was it Calypso? Calypso would slap out of that scoop, bro. It would slap. Oh my god. The yellow favorite Calypso, that shit would go down. But anyway, so when you grew up at a certain economic level, right? I think we all had some of the basics, which was the sandwich maker. And you know exactly the one that I'm talking about.
Ooh,
the one that would cut your bread into that one. The white kids didn't have that. I never saw any of my white friends who pulled out an egg sandwich where that scrambled egg soup, then you chuck it into the sandwich maker. I
was going more with polony.
Yeah,
polony slap.
Although there was no chicken polony back then. It was just pork, so I never really had the polony experience growing up like that.
Zim polony, epic. That Kokum Adam, yo.
No, I've tasted it. The Zim polony in the early 2000s. That shit was on levels. I've tasted it before because my cocoa was an SDA, so she let me eat pork. Behind my dad's back. She would drive a car, and then my granddad would come like, "Fanam, what do you want?" I'm like, "I want a hot dog," and I felt so bad. But man, those hot dogs tasted so good. Those pink Adams. Put some ketchup on that. Tawa was a happy boy. But there's just certain experiences, like I said, you freeze it, those little chips for 2 rand. There's just certain experiences that I feel I would feel inauthentic as a resident of Bulawayo. If it was just I've just been a bougie kid and kumnandi wadi, I would feel like there's a disconnect.
You had Lay's and egg and tomato sandwich in your...
that's boring, bro. That's boring. I think you need to... that poverty, just a little bit of... Just a little bit of, okay, poverty, change your life, man. Change your life. It really puts you where you are. I'm sure the people will agree. People would agree. The others... and let me know if you feel like, because we've all had a little bit of poverty to a certain extent. For some people it was a young 10%, for young others it was 90%. But let me know if you feel like your experience, if you spent a couple years in Zim, if you grew up in Zim, you know, like
nothing was worse than
it's
school trips at CBC. Like not for me, but so I was okay, but you start to feel awkward because so my mom had this thing where you see those safari camping lunch bags. Yeah, those cooler bags where you put food, right? So whenever we'd have a cricket trip or a football trip, you should go all out and pack that thing. Like we're talking like half chicken and snacks.
Your mom loved to cuckoo, bro.
No, it would be because like it's a long trip, right? So it's chicken, unlike most other meats, you can
make sure that man is fed the whole time.
So you can eat it throughout the day, right? So several meals. So you don't need to flip yourself. You can grab a kata and then be fine. And then it was a lot of things, right? So you're going on these trips, and then white kids will be doing their own thing, and then like obviously you've got your fellow homies who maybe backgrounds are different, and now you're all now put into this bus together. You're going to spend a weekend away. A CBC is not it's not like a boarding. It's not like Falcon, right, where your food is taken care of. You guys eat the same thing. It's not, right? You take care of your own snacks on the way to, or they'll give you there wherever. Maybe it's at Lomakundi or it's at Prince Edward. They'll just give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In between Lias Bonel, right? And that's where you would see the difference is proper. Okay, it's a bit, it's feeling awkward. That's why you must check your privilege tab. It's very important.
Never, absolutely not. I think flex on niggas when you can flex on niggas, man. There's too much sadness and negativity in life. If you have a moment of happiness, you better, go into it and, make sure. If you get a happiness out of flexing, flex on niggas, because but I was gonna say, I loved school trips just because that's when my parents actually gave me money. Like whenever I'd go to school and stuff like that, like they barely give me money. Like it would never make sense because they're like, there's everything currently. Do you want food? You can carry a whole loaf of bread. That's literally, my dad looked at me. It's like, if you want a whole loaf of bread, you can take it to school. And I'm like, dog, that's not the conversation. I'm not telling you that I'm hungry. I'm talking quality, not quantity. I'm trying to have a qualitative conversation with this guy. He's telling me, how many loaf you think? Like,
yeah, but like some foods are literally just for the experience, right? So you don't get a hot dog at school because you're hungry half the time, right? Maybe it's half hunger, but the other half is for the experience, right? You just want to taste that particular food at that moment in time. So if you're hungry, and be fine. But in reality, every once in a while you want to switch it up and get a burger from the tuck shop.
No. If I could do anything, I wish I could go back in time and have a conversation with my dad, because this man really was on as long as my kids are fed, like I don't care, like nothing else is relevant. That was my dad's mentality, and it's like there was so much, like me and my dad really need to go to therapy, because there was just so much change that was going on. This man was the issue is, man, I went and had kids, right? And then after he had kids, things economically for him in a very short span of time started changing for the better, right? But the problem is, he still had his Makaya mentality, which is, as long as niggas are taken care of, as long as niggas are fed, sharp. My kids are going to school, right, sharp. Like those were he had a checklist of things, whereas like you could never ever go to my dad and be like, hey, you have school fees, but never, ever. Me and my dad would never have that conversation, because you just knew no matter what would happen, Niggas was always going to school. Niggas was always going to go on trips and whatever. But like, my problem was the day-to-day quality of life. That was the problem. Like, this man saying that, imagine pulling up to a villa in Camps Bay, yeah? Overlooking the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, like villa mansion vibes, lit, pool, jacuzzi, everything, yeah? And then you're in there, your expectations are sky high, like, oh shit, right? This is big time. And then, so to right, let's come and eat. And people are giving you is trial and beat. Like, that's really what it was for us. Where I'm like, but we could literally be chowing whatever, right? Anything that we want. Like, it could be a varied. Even my mom used to try, like, no, sweetie, I see the peli menu, what? Like, and we did like a whole menu thing for like a month, and then after a month, the thing died, and it just went from every day's trial, going to school. I just get isinkwa and juice, like, bro, like. And I would look at this man. I'm like, my G, this is the 4th car that you've purchased, yeah? Cars are not cheap. I'm old enough to understand that if a man owns 4 cars, this man got dollars. But me, I'm taking us to school, Lopels and Mazoe. Like, you see what I mean when I talk about inequity, Mr. Mo? Like, it was... I had the most confused childhood. Like, I would sit back and I would be so
facilitate
confused.
the chat between you and your parents? Because I think much is necessary.
No, honestly, I've never met 2 individuals. I mean, again, my mom liked the finer things in life, but the problem was my mom was just like, bruh, if that's what your dad wants to do, that's what he wants to do. That was my mom. She wouldn't get into all this other politics. She's like, okay, sharp. You know, she wasn't bothered about that. She had other shit that she was working on.
As long as she had her thing sorted out.
Yeah, and that's this is the unfair thing. My mom had her own money. So if she wanted to go out for lunch, if she wanted to buy herself something nice, she could. Mina, I don't work. I'm dependent on you. And that's why she was unbothered. Because if she had my situation, which was she was a stay-at-home mom, I promise you, best believe there would have been nice yogurts in the fridge. We would have had cornflakes all the time. Because also, I don't know, I guess we used to eat a lot.
Cornflakes all the time?
Not all the no, because like so again, like I said, my parents, it was the weirdest childhood ever because you would swear we were broke. And like some of the things where I'm like, bruh. So my mom, I think where she
you were a cheese boy without the cheese.
Yeah, bruh, literally cheese boy without the cheese, dog. So her thing was she would buy a box of cereal. And then when she buys a box of cereal, me and my brothers, we would finish that cereal, I think, in like 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days. We'd be done. Then my mom would get pissed. And she'd be like, "Answer Ting until next month." Like,
I finished a box of Cervita in a week.
Yeah, which is normal. And that's the thing. That's what frustrated me about my parents. And she'd be like, "Nancy Mazoe needs to last 2 weeks." And I'm like, bruh, 2 weeks? And then at some point we had like my other 2 cousins staying with us. So this shit will be done in like 3-4 days, bruh. And then the rest of the 10 days of said 14 were drinking water, dog. Water. Like, I mean, like my mom didn't care, dog. She'd literally wait the 2 weeks. She'd check the receipt. And then if 2 weeks now says Guanile, she'll go and she'll be like, I got that food in 2 days. We wait another 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God. And then there was the whole struggle for the pantry. Well, I'm sorry, guys. This is like my therapy. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I apologize. Everything was in the pantry. So obviously, because she clearly has kids who eat a lot of food. And she has guests that would come over every weekend, right? Or auntie.
She locks it like
whatever.
every David parent.
Exactly. So all the goodies,
my mom
each choice, assorted biscuits, all those things. So I got quite a few beatings because what would happen is we would go upstairs, yeah, And obviously, there's nothing in the cupboards. In the cupboards, our cupboards are so funny. It was all the non-perishables that you could find. Full, dog. Going to chugela, going to cooking oil. And it's like, So as a kid, what am I going to do with all this sugar, poo, and like that's what was in the cupboards, dog. And it's just like, I want a snack and I want it right now. So I go upstairs to my parents. I'll be like, yo, and I'd always blame the maid. I'd be like, ukukuthe ufuni sunlight liquid siphelile. And my mom would go, yeah. And I'd be like, yeah, to accept sunlight liquid. Or and then because my mom is not gonna go all the way downstairs to just open a pantry, she'd be like, okay, not gonna my key. Bruh, take the keys, go downstairs, give myself a good 5-10 minutes in the pantry, chow the biscuits, dog, drink the mazore, the chips, because we get like cinders or whatever from essay. Bruh, me a chow, dog. Especially if things were left open. So I didn't have the guts to open things, right? If they weren't open,
no, of course you can't. Evidently.
But if they were opened, no. So there was a time when my mom beat the shit out of us. And it was because it was literally because so we were running this whole scam of Coco needs this, Coco needs that, right? To the point where I don't realize how much being charged because my brother's also doing the same thing. Yeah. And no one is doing stock take of like, so if you take 2 or 3 biscuits, no one really notices, right? Like, no one is like,
if you guys are running the same scam
to be like, I'm a biscuit like short. But the problem is because we're 2 dumb kids, the biscuits would finish. So then Sunday comes, we have Avant and me and my brother are minding our own business. We're in the other lounge, we're playing PlayStation or whatever we were doing. And then, it's that time when I want to be Mzini here for what? For biscuits, the drink. So Queen goes upstairs, gets a Makia pantry, unlocks the pantry. She goes to the kitchen, open, and it's the huge box. It's the huge box of the assorted items, bro. And all that was left was the ginger biscuits. The ginger biscuits, and then the chocolate biscuit in the red paper. That's all that was left.
Okay, well, the red were okay, but not everyone.
The red
like that.
The red wasn't that slab. It is slab, but the eat samos were gone. The wafers are definitely gone. The twisty item with the jam in the cherry in the middle, that was gone. Like nah. So after that, so she quickly, I don't know who went, or maybe my dad was out. I don't know. Someone came with some replenishments, yeah. And the guests got their shit. When they left, bruh, now she beat us, bro. Beat the shit out of us. And to me, I'm thinking as a parent, you should be seeing the alarm bells, which is my kids are not getting enough snacks. That's the message. That's the message we're trying to send you, man.
You guys were trying to send a message, Tom.
We're trying to send a message. The message was never received. We just got more and more beatings. Like it was, bro. Like no. Like honestly, me my childhood was rough, guys. Like it was proper. Like the weirdest relationship. You have a PlayStation, you have the latest games, but your cupboard has got Boop, Dog, and Jolly Juice. Like like it didn't match. It didn't match at all. Like and my wife is starting to see this trauma because I go overboard in the house now with snacks and cereals. We just have a bunch of cereals. Like, bro, are you gonna finish this cereal? Like, no, but I want to see it. I want to see it. That's where we are, and that's the trauma that my parents have done to me. I just need to see the cereal in the crib.
Bro,
I see nah. Angusebenzi man.
How will come through in Cape Town? Oh, what happened to 30? What happened to 30? Guys, I wanna buy. What's that thing from Pick and Pay? That pie thing? That dessert,
which pie?
That dessert looking out of the
milk tart.
The milk tart. uvela ubone ukuthi hayi lo kayijwayelanga lo.
No, that's different. Though. That's different. There's no milk tarts here. So I do that for the sake of throwback. But no. There's just some fundamentals where my wife just looked at me.
It's also
and just said,
umuntu is coming to an Airbnb and it must be the Airbnb must have snack.
No, it genuinely is a problem. I've had to stop even the Airbnb that we had this time around. I had to stop myself from picking up certain things because I was like, Tawo, you're not going to use all of this, you know. But like my default instinct was like, I just want to see it. Like me and empty cupboards is like it's trauma, dog. It's trauma. Like, oh no. Hi. But no, yeah, I think I definitely need that therapy session, fam. I need to get it off my chest and really understand. Because I might pass this shit on to other people. And but no, my parents were gangster, bro. Pantry was salvation, bro. The pantry was salvation, dog. Like it was like it literally was like stepping into Pick and Pay. That's what our pantry was. And this is peak Zim, like 07 there, and there was nothing. There's literally nothing out there. But you step into our pantry, it was like you've just stepped into Pick and Pay. Everything was there, dog. Everything.
Yeah, I think we need to have a round table talk with you and I hope they'll be open to that.
No, what again? My message, because I know my dad will sometimes listen to the pod. My message would be, what you guys needed to understand was, you can't just pick and choose what you want to upgrade. You know, I can't look at Senna and be like, no, you know what? Let me give Senna the biggest guns in the world, right? But his legs, they're gonna stay skinny. You know, like there needs to be across the board. You know, everything needs to be upgraded. I can't just say, I can't just double Senna's salary and be like, Senna, remain in your current apartment. Like it doesn't work like that. You know, it doesn't work. Like, okay, Senna, you stay in your current apartment, but inside it's gonna be gourmet food, top of the top. You know, all organic, all naturally raised, all this and gwen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you can do that. I think across the board, if you know, okay, economics have gotten better, then raise everything across the board. Okay, quality of life, school, and, you know, toys, or I don't know, whatever the thing might be. But you can't have someone going to the best school in the world and then, you know, you're like, Anla Malema toy. Like, just, and then you buy your fourth car. Like, it's just, those things are like, you know, I'm like, doc, like, you need to equalize, you know. If we're within the poverty spectrum, let's be within the poverty spectrum so that my expectations are also right, you know. Like that's where my chat was essentially with this whole thing. It was just confusing because it's like, okay, do we or do we not have the means? That's where I was like, guys, pick one. Like it can't
pick a struck.
Yeah, pick either we got it or we don't got it. It has to be either or. I can't just be, you know, bits and pieces. This week we saw Senna popping bottles, you know, at a yepi, you know, Vele, Don Perignon, you know, Vev, you know, all that shit. And it's like, oh shit, Senna got it like that. And then the next week, on is at Mam Rupees at the corner there, chowing Strala and beat there, and it's like,
it
Senna,
is what
you
it
know. Is. Which Senna is Senna, right? Like, I think just keep it in the middle. Keep it in the middle. And just kind of, right, this is what it is. But anyway, funniest years of my life, man. Like, I really need to reflect on some of the things, and we have lived. We have lived.
What a difficult.
I think we have. Senna, let's just dedicate this one to
childhood trauma.
Childhood trauma. I think this is gonna be the. It doesn't make sense to talk about anything else. I think we're gonna leave it here. We dedicate this episode
Cheese
to
boy
childhood
without the
trauma.
cheese.
Yeah, cheese boy without the cheese, man. Guys, tell us your story.
Yeah.
If you went through something similar, let us know. Let us know. If you didn't, again, let us know. Add us. It's always good to laugh at yourself. Otherwise, I couldn't to kalangako on another day. Now I'm having flashbacks to that beating, dog. Nah, bro. The queen was vexed, dog. Yay! Yeah. She was vexed. But also,
Mrs. Maposa.
if you are a parent and you're looking at your child and telling them, hey, this thing must last 2 weeks, nah, fam. Nah, don't do that.
But it must.
Aye. So now that thing can't last. In Mazoe, especially, like Mazoe orange, I think would last, but you can't buy blackberry or you can't buy the peach one and expect us not to. Come on. Aye, I'll wait. And then my brother had a sweet tooth, so his would be incredibly sweet. And it's like, are you accounting for that? Are you accounting for one of your sons being a sugar addict? Like, come on. There was a time when she got so fed up. She almost, I don't know what stopped her, but she wanted to buy everyone in the house their own bottle of Mazoe. She got that fed up because the shit was just not lasting. She was like, nah, I'm going to buy each of you a Mazoe. Let's see what happens. And it just never happened.
At least. Look, what I'll say is, fortunately, Mr. Maps, I don't think I went through that. My parents, I think, almost encouraged. No, eat lanini pela. Otherwise, my mother would always drive me to there's other kids who don't have the privilege. So, okungenani, And I don't think we were kids who were. Maybe there's a difference when you have boys only, than when you have a mix of girls and boys. But I think we'd never like my mom wouldn't complain about Uti Pede Masinya or Uti the Serevita finished in a week or whatever. There wasn't anything like that. So this is fascinating, Mr. Maps, personally.
No. For us, it was Alcatraz, dog. Like it was very each man for themselves. You would timela the groceries. Like my dad comes back from spa after work and Ghana young Zimra items, search everything, make sure to land. It was literally no. Like our child was hilarious. Having all boys in the house is so funny. It's so funny having all boys in the house because like we ate a lot. and then what's funny is like Utiang, he developed a bad habit of wanting to eat secretly because of this. So everyone, why is it Makoni? Like you don't say. You grab something,
Why are you guys making it sound like? So wait, you couldn't like so can I just ask a question, right? So like you were talking about yogurt and stuff. So your mom wouldn't buy yogurt and just put it in the fridge, and then
because it will be done. Like someone is gonna chow it and finish.
So I think the deprivation is what led to you guys eating it as quickly as you did, because I think there's a school of thought. There's a school of thought which puts myself in the parents' shoes where I'm like, life. I think if I buy things and then ngapela masinya, I'd also be like, what the hell? Ngapa bills, ngapa hangazi school fees, ngaputhenga imazo yaphela in 2 days. So I do think ukuthi probably that rationing didn't help. At times, leave it there, and then it'll get to a point where it's not exciting for you guys. Then whenever it's there, you guys are finishing it in 2-3 days.
Yeah,
I think to finish Mazoe in 2 or 3 days also allow it up. Why? Let's clean so guys. It was let's say ngasanatha amanzi selinathi Mazoe kuphela. What's going on?
So it was literally one of those missions where in the Bible there's the Israelites when the manna would come down. I think was it every Saturday. I can't remember when it was coming down. Or every day except Saturday. I can't remember. What the story was.
But when they were hungry, the Lord provided manna from heaven.
Yeah, and my mom would come and provide the manna, and the roaches would be out, bro. We were like roaches, and it should look at us. It's like, Kadi, what's you guys' problem? And we're like, bruh, we don't know when this thing is going to end, because again, my dad is such a simple man. He didn't care for Mazoe. He didn't care for all these. Like, if it's literally just a man's frichin, my dad was fine. He was never bothered. And that was the most frustrating thing because he didn't need it. To this day, he's happy with this trial Olympiad. Like, he's unbothered at all. And I'm just like that's the frustration where your dad doesn't even care what I will drink. It's like, oh man, they didn't get it. So when it was there and it was finished, it's like, okay, it's finished. Go and look.
Yeah, so I think that's where, because I think my mom trusted us with food. So in a sense where she'd stock up the fridge, yogurt, if we eat it, it's not going to finish in a day. Maybe because, like I said, maybe it was because you guys were all boys. Maybe boys eat more, but there wouldn't be that vibe. Hey, now I must hide snacks from these ones. I must ration, until I feel like it's time
no
for
one
them
would
to eat
own
it.
up. There's nothing worse than getting smacked for something that you didn't do, bro. Like, there was a time yogurt, yeah, pale. Because my mom would like to have cornflakes with like yogurt. And someone deleted the yogurt, bro. Like, it was, the big tub that's like almost a liter. Like the big one. That's like fits
How are you
perfectly
people
in
eating
your
yogurt in
pot.
one sitting?
I don't know what happened, dog, but me, I didn't touch it. This mama, I didn't touch it. And someone killed it, dog, and just left probably 4 spoons, right? The whole container, I'd say, is about 50 spoons of yogurt for context. But Umutulo left about 4 or 5 spoons of
Yeah, because you can't finish it.
And I think what annoyed my mom the most is that we would leave it in the fridge. So like we would have chicken, for example, right, on a Saturday, and then everyone eats and whatever, and then the leftovers go into the fridge, and then like Sunday, my mom would be like, right, maybe because she'll open the fridge a couple times in the day, and she'll see the container which had the chicken, and she assumes there's chicken. But niggas would literally go in, chow them kuku, and then like just leave the container inside. Or like you leave in town or the back. So now when you're hungry, scheming good to know there's a couple pieces of chicken, right? You open the item, you see good about chill in town, like all
Zikolo chicken.
It's so funny. So I got smacked because she thought I took the yogurt. I'm like, no, I honestly didn't touch the yogurt. And it's like, then who? And then no one owns up. It's like, okay, if no one's gonna own up, everybody gets the smoke. And it's like, bruh, like, why am I dying for this? So then Lamia will do shit on purpose because I want to get a beating. So it was
My God.
No, it really was comedy. No. I think growing up was comedy, bro. Like, it was proper comedy in the crib. Blaming the siblings is hilarious. Like, we wouldn't snitch. No one would ever snitch. Like, Angwas.
No, I think it's necessary now.
That was us.
To sit all of you down, Lee family, and just say, guys, le issue la. You'll find, and the funny thing is, you'll find that if you were to ever have children, your mom would be a spoiler of note. We're talking.
Oh, absolutely.
Yogurt, Mazoe, all the biscuits that you used to steal, they will become readily available.
Absolutely.
Just like that.
The biscuits that used to last? I forget. Is it Charlton's? Those ones. The one I'm talking about. We are in a 5 kg item.
Yeah. Those bulk ones.
Yeah.
They were just made just in Djibouti.
Like, yeah, those items used to last. But any produce from South, I won't even lie, bro. I won't even lie. It was proper. It was Mission Impossible. It's us Pilis Mission Impossible in the house. First things first, find the keys to the pantry. Or if my mom ever forgot, she got some shit in the pantry herself and forgot the keys inside. What? Shopping spree, doc.
Guys.
Oh my god! Wow, I had a good laugh thinking about these things, but like, wow. Anyway, Mr. Moy.
A chat is necessary. A chat is necessary.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a chat is absolutely necessary because, people must explain why I have, boxes and boxes of cereal in my house. Anyway, it's been good. It's been a good one. I think we can sign off here. Do we have any CSMs?
No, I don't have any myself personally.
Okay, all right. I don't think I have either. But yeah, guys, as you know, like the ting, subscribe to the ting, retweet the ting, or else we're inclined to believe you are a hater. Mr. Moy.
Laters.